Hi all, welcome back to Watch Jelly. My name is Alvin. Welcome to the Such Predacity podcast by Watch Jelly. And it's been a while, so thank you all for listening in on this podcast. So today we'll be talking about the Succession show from the very successful HBO series. So we're right at the doorstep of the season 4 finale happening soon. And coincidentally, I happened to started watching the show season 1 about 5 or 6 episodes in, a month and a half ago. I've just never found the time to finish it because of the many shows that we can watch. And I will endeavor to finish it quite soon. So bear with me if I don't get every character right. And so for Succession, it's literally about the top 0.01% of the world, right? Very rich family, very rich and powerful family. And then basically the premise is about an older man who's the patriarch of the family, also the owner of the family business and company, falling ill, and then his one of his children are just basically wrestling for power, attempting to try to be his successor when he passes. So clearly, as we all know, he does not pass. He's still in the show up to season 4, at least from the posters. And so today we'll be talking about the Watchers that were featured on the show, just maybe a handful of them. So I want to reference this article that came out a few days back, written by Lisa Grice. It's titled "Quiet Luxury Timepieces: All the Notable Watches Featured on Succession." And most notably, I think the article talks a bit about the stealth wealth aspect of the watches featured on Watch Jelly. Because after all, this is a show about, sky-high penthouses, super yachts, really helicopters and all that, I suppose houses in the Hamptons and all that, lake houses. So it's literally centered around wealth, power, business in New York City. So I think it's quite interesting that the show also manages to get quite a few very nice timepieces on the show. And, let's talk about this, in relation to this article. So the grand finale of the series is coming right up. Let's just focus on some of the children in the show and some of the very nice watches. So Kendall Roy is the son who is the most ambitious in the company, the most ambitious son of the patriarch. And so in this article, it was featured that he wears a Richard Mille RM6701 extra flat. It's a black watch, slightly skeletonized. It seems that this watch is, as opposed to, say, the Nautilus, which is in stainless steel that he previously wore in the earlier seasons. I think this article says that this watch is a lot less quiet luxury, and it's true. It's a lot louder. The Richard Mille RM67, if you've seen it, I will attach the photo here. Is a rather bombastic watch. While it is black compared to a lot of other Richard Milles out there that are extremely bright in colors, sometimes a combination of colors, extremely ostentatious. I think this one, because it's black, gray, in darker tones overall, it is in the Richard Mille family, relatively speaking, a toned down watch. So it certainly is. Richard Mille is extremely. They're produced in very low quantities, so they are sold for high prices, and clearly they perform well. And with the hip hop lifestyle, celebrities, businessmen, very powerful people usually wear them. Certain pieces, when they stop production, certain pieces get very much in demand because of the who's who wears them. And, naturally they go very, very much in price, sometimes in the hundreds of thousands, sometimes over $1 million, US dollars, that is. So this watch, I find, it's sort of befitting of the show. Roy's siblings-wise, it pretty much fits his character, I think. And, he's always very ambitious for power, at least from what I saw in the first few episodes. So this is a very nice watch. Personally, I previously managed to spend a few minutes with a RM6702. That was, the one where, they have these several colorways that are released based off of certain athletes, very well-known athletes that perform really great. And the one that I handled was, really nice black, yellow, red, very ostentatious, but something about it, the 6702, the design, I really enjoy that design of, and it's a very light watch, amazing colors. So I think I can sort of see how certain RMs, are extremely pleasant to wear. I would totally wear that watch. if I own one, and I won't think twice about it. So I think for arms, sometimes they get a bad rap for being too ostentatious. Yes, obviously some of them are too ostentatious, but I think the fact that a lot of them can be smaller in case size and they sit a bit more flat on the wrist. So a lot of them are actually very pleasant to look at. So I can see the charm of an RM. So I think for the purpose of the show, they got this one right. It's a really nice watch, very fancy, very clearly, extremely within the ethos of RM, very well made. So yeah, this totally makes sense. Yeah, and let's move to the next Roman. So previously in the early seasons, he's always wearing just a very simple Rolex date dress for the most part. But for season 4, it says here that he's pretty much switched to a IWC Pilot Mark 20, and looks great. It's just a very simple strap and steel watch. Time and date only, very toned down. This is something I would totally wear if I ever get into the world of IWC. Very simple, very 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 sort of a weekend watch that you can also wear at work. I think very toned down, which is pretty similar to a date just, albeit a lot less shiny. So yeah, I think this is perfect. I think Roman as a character, he wears really nice watches, very straight up, business casual, or maybe even a bit more on the casual side. So I think sophisticated, understated. Totally agree on how the article sort of describes this watch. And he's, I think for most people, if every character in the royal family wears extremely ostentatious watches, then clearly maybe that may rub people the wrong way or rub audiences the wrong way. But I think in this case, it's perfect. It looks great, and totally see this watch being a more commonplace type of watch, and something that most people can find accessible in obtaining. So excellent piece by Roman Roy. And the daughter in the family, Siobhan Roy. I think in previous seasons she's pretty much stuck to, if I can read closely, Cartiers, the Penthers, and so I think in season 4 it seems that she sports a Chopard Happy Sport Limited Edition automatic watch. Yeah, again, with a bit of diamonds, with ladies, they usually like diamonds in their watches, and because watches are also, I think for men these days, also can be jewelry pieces, accessories to wear apart from just telling the time. So I totally see how this is perfect for ladies who want a bit of bling on their watch. So I think the Chopard watch looks excellent. It fits her, and then in terms of the case size, I think sometimes ladies these days, they wear watches that are a bit too big, that overhang on their wrists because they go into the men's size quite a bit. I think for the fact that Siobhan puts on this watch, and it's sitting very very well on her wrist, and I think it looks amazing. So I think for this one, the show got it right. Such an amazing piece, and I would totally see. If the ladies that I work with were to come to me and say, "Hey, this is nice," would it make sense for them to own this watch? I would say yes, by all means. Very classy, sophisticated, sort of understated still, even though it has some of the diamonds there. But I think really nice watch, perfect. The show really got it right with this one. Amazing. And maybe last but not least, we look at Tom Wamsgren from the show. So I think in the first episode of season 1, I saw him trying to gift his prospective father-in-law a Patek Phillipe Nautilus in the pilot episode. Clearly, we all know how that went. Nautiluses are amazing watch. It's an amazing watch. And I think for season 4, it seems here that he wears a stainless steel, the basic Royal Oak chronograph. I think the Royal Oak chronograph in the last 3-4 years have been getting quite popular. I think previously a lot of folks just look at the time and date only Royal Oaks, the 15202s, the Jumbo, the 15450, the 15400, subsequently 15500, and now the 16202, the 50th anniversary Jumbo. I think it's amazing, but I personally, while it is a fancy watch and a nice watch, I see certain people in, certain whether people who work in white collar roles, in the corporate white collar roles, or even some celebrities, online influencers started wearing this watch, and it's gained popular attraction. And also prices have also increased as a result. The gray market prices, of course, and due to the overwhelming popularity. Personally, I've never liked AP chronographs. I find that AP chronographs are I've heard horror stories. I think they get a pretty bad rep, and usually based on the recounts that I've heard, it's deserving of the bad rep. I think AP chronographs are not great. There have been accounts of how the chronograph easily gets damaged, it easily gets faulty, and then when you bring it to AP for a service, it costs an arm and a leg to service an AP chronograph. This is one of the reasons why I never touch an AP Royal offshore, because offshores, for the most part, have chronographs. Even without a chronograph, AP Royal offshores are some of the more I find unappealing watches out there. It's just personal, nothing against anyone who wants to wear 44, 46 millimeter watches. Even the 41 millimeters, the very awkward colors, sometimes there are numerals on the dials. I think the design ethos of offshores are not great. At least I don't find them appealing at the very least. These are some of the last watches I would buy. I find that for folks who shit on Richard Mille, I think Richard Mille gets overwhelmingly a bad rep, sometimes undeservedly so. Royal Offshores belong to that group, I feel, because and I think I would say that they're probably even worse than Richard Mille's when it comes to some of the design ethos, the watch, the ginormous sizes, and how they are made. I've never liked offshores. I've never believed in offshores for that purpose. And for Royal Oak's chronographs, they just don't work for me. I think for AP, I think time and date works. Perpetual calendars work because of their rich history in their classic timepieces. So but perpetual calendars are extremely expensive, so I don't see myself getting one anytime soon. So yeah, I think the show gets it right. AP chronographs reasonably accessible. I think the price ranges, I'm talking retail pricing, somewhere in the 40 to 70,000 range for the most part. So still reasonably accessible. Obviously the grey market is way more expensive than that. But never like AP chronographs. I wouldn't touch them with a 50-foot pole, if you want my honest opinion. So that's that. And maybe before we end the podcast, I just want to thank everyone. It's been about 2 years, just about exactly 2 years, since we started Watch Jelly, and I just wanted to thank everyone's support for the past 2 years. Watch Jelly, any and everyone who has egged me on to start Watch Jelly from the start. I thank you. You guys are the motivation that made all this possible, and it's what kept me going throughout this time. I think in the last few months, in my personal life, it's been particularly difficult. I lost someone very close to me, and this person is also pretty instrumental to the early days of Watch Jelly. I want to use this opportunity to thank this person for helping out Watch Jelly and making a lot of this even possible. But as with most things in life, things change. Change is obviously constant, and we'll just move on from this. And Watch Jelly is a community today of thousands of people on YouTube who have subscribed, and I think I have tried to do things the right way for the most part, hopefully, and as opposed to just putting a thumbnail of a very hot girl and then hoping people subscribe to look at hot girls. And we've just kept this fun for the most part, and hopefully keep it this way for enthusiasts. And thankfully it is doing okay, and I just hope to more of you can subscribe and listen on. So with that said, I thank you. So before we end off, also, what would you think are some of the timepieces that should have been included in Succession. And if there are other shows where you feature corporate guys who are powerful men, powerful women, rich families, what other watches do you think should be incorporated in these shows that may not have, which may not have been included in Succession, the HBO series? Let us know in the comments below. If I would greatly appreciate if you like, share, and subscribe. For all of you who are new to the channel and new to the podcast, please do so. So yeah, and with that, we'll be ending up the podcast. Thank you so much. This is Elvin. It's been a pleasure. Take care, guys. Don't forget to keep watching Jelly. Cheers. Bye-bye.